Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining me for our live webinar on building your personal brand on LinkedIn. Just going to take a few moments while we let people in and just make sure that everything's working in the right way, in the way it should be. Put your locations in the chat. If you're from US, if you're from Asia, if you're from Europe, if you're from UK, put your locations in the chat. It'd be great to see where you guys are from. Usually we get people from all over and we love to present to people all across the world. So what we're going to be talking about is some of the key things to building your personal brand. I'm going to be offering some value, giving away a checklist, giving you tons of value about how you can build your personal brand on LinkedIn and why that would benefit you in the aims of winning new business and in the aims of growing following, in the aims of building company page, personal page, and just cementing a brand that you can be known by. So we got people in Utah, Manchester, someone from the US. So US are dominating at the moment. Kansas City, Vancouver, definitely dominating now. Any more from the UK? Can we see some rivals? Can we see some numbers from the UK? Maybe some from Europe, Mexico City. Brilliant. Probably not evening, there's probably morning there. But so thanks for joining me this evening, this morning. Like I said, talking about building your personal brand. Nigeria, love to see it. Manchester, brilliant. Manchester dominating the UK. We got Bournemouth in there. Daniela in Devon. Dean in Plymouth, Wiltshire. So we're just going to take a few more minutes just while we let people in because technical issues these days, internet issues, people take a few minutes just to get themselves inside. So just bear with me a few minutes. What I want you guys to do today is really help me. I'm talking to a camera and that is quite tricky, right? So I'm talking to myself. The problem with that is I will struggle. I won't have any conversation. So any questions that you have, put in the chat. I'll read them out. I'll answer them the best I can. Anything I can't answer, then we can schedule something, a conversation after this session, and then we'll talk about it then. But like I said, we're going to be sharing some checklists. We're going to be sharing some freebies today, something to give you guys after this session. So you'll be walking away with a ton of useful, valuable information. Lisa from Sweden, love to see it. So London as well, that's brilliant. Great to see you, Leonard. Any else? So LinkedIn is dominating it at the moment. We don't have too much on YouTube. So like I said, guys, we're talking about building your personal brand today. And that could range from whether you're an influencer, whether you're looking to make sales, whether you're a marketing expert, it doesn't really matter. All of it should be focused around the same thing, especially when we're using LinkedIn specifically. But anything I teach you today is going to be usable across all social channels and is going to benefit you greatly. So a few more minutes just while we let a few more people in, see what we're up to. Still got London, Sweden, Birmingham, Fort Lauderdale. That's great. Nice to meet you, Stephen. Thanks for joining. Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else got a location that we haven't seen here? I've got my bingo card ready. I'm stamping them out. We've got UK, Sweden at the moment. We've got US. We've got, where else have we got? So we've got Florida there. That's great. Thank you to everyone for joining me this evening. It's going to make my first webinar a lot easier, I hope. Like I said, make sure you ask me a ton of questions. I really want to be able to converse with a few of you today, share some really valuable personal stuff, things that you really want to find out. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to give you the chance to ask many questions afterwards. You can join us by email or you can jump on a call. We're going to have plenty of opportunity to talk after this session. We've got Atlanta there, brilliant. US definitely dominating the crowd tonight. So, one more minute, 2 more minutes maybe, just while we let a few more people in. How's everyone feeling tonight? Everyone feeling good? Or maybe in the morning for you guys in the US, I'm not too sure. How are we all feeling? We doing all right? So, let's give it a few more minutes. So, just to recap what I'm talking about today, I'm going to talk about what is your personal brand. Just want people to feel like they have an understanding of what it is and why it's important. We're also going to talk about how your profile relates to your personal brand and why they're so linked together and why they should be so joined up, because there's so many bad profiles out there on LinkedIn at the moment. And mine, a couple of years ago, mine probably wasn't that great either. So don't feel bad if you're one of those that's doing everything against what I say today, but actually this is your chance to take action and improve your personal brand and really build upon it. So we're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about some of the key ways that you can drive inbound inquiries and inbound traffic from personal brand. So not just about building your personal brand and building something effective, but actually how to draw in inbound opportunities using your personal brand. So, are we ready to get started? I think we're ready to go. Great. So, thank you everyone for joining me. Build your personal brand. Let's get into it. So, about me. I've been working for Maverick for 9 years this month on the 18th. I know I don't look like I've been at one company for 9 years, but I started as an apprentice and I worked up from there. I've worked in multiple different opportunities. Sorry, David, are you going to share some documents with the highlights? Yeah, absolutely. We'll share the slides. We'll share a replay. We'll share a ton of stuff. Don't you worry about it. And any questions you want to ask, just make sure you ask. So I've worked in design. I've been customer facing. I've worked in LinkedIn strategy, sales strategy, marketing strategy. I really put myself about the place. But what I wanted to do over those 9 years is really build up my expertise across the board, all with the aim of helping people like you to build your personal brand, but also make sales using LinkedIn. I'm also a karaoke enthusiast. I'm not going to be singing tons today, as much as I'd love to, but I do love a bit of karaoke, as do so many people. So I'm going to try not to break out in song, but that's a little bit about me. So the agenda of today, as I've said, what we're going to talk about is what is a personal brand. We're going to talk about your profile and the link between your profile and your personal brand and why they're so importantly, why they should be combined so importantly, and how we drive inbound with 3 key steps. So I know so many people struggle with inbound inquiries and inbound opportunities, and it's usually because of their personal brand and the way they've communicated their offer. By the end of today, you're going to be implementing some really useful stuff and useful tips that's going to help you to drive more inbound from content, more inbound from your profile, and just more inbound in general. Something we'd all love, right? So, what is your personal brand? And so many people say this in different ways. Gary Vee, the big famous influencer who's built up many businesses, made a ton of money and got a ton of followers, millions of followers to be exact, and gets business from now his personal brand. He said personal brand is really just reputation. Actually, personal brand is your reputation, but it's also perception. And I think this is a big thing because I may work for a company that has 40, 50 employees. But what generates us business is how we're perceived. I want to be able to leave the room and people can see clearly what it is that I represent, what it is I talk about, what topics of conversation I'm involved in, and what I'm known for. And actually, perception is huge. A one-man band, a LinkedIn trainer who just by himself but has a ton of followers, a really clear offer on LinkedIn and really demonstrates the value of working with him for his content, for his profile, he will probably win business over me. And that's just the nature of it. That's just the nature of perception. And most people, you see on Instagram, most people, influencers and things like that, they don't look how they look on Instagram because it's all about perception. So if you go to your profile right now and you go, God, I haven't got a profile picture, immediately your perception is hindered and so will everything else. So why is it important? Your personal brand is important because it builds authority within your field. It builds trust. It builds credibility. It allows people to see that you're an expert in their industry, which builds even more trust and credibility, right? Imagine that you've just read that this person really knows his stuff and really can display those expertise. It's going to allow you to build confidence that they can deliver a solution that you're after and a solution to your challenge, right? Also, it allows you to get new business opportunities. Like we're going to talk about later, you can generate inbound opportunities. You can also get people messaging you and engaging with you purely because they love what you're talking about and really trust that you know what you're talking about. If Elon Musk said something about rockets, you're going to believe that he probably knows what he's talking about. And that's because of the personal brand he's built upon himself. Also, for some of you out there, Getting noticed by recruiters and potential employees is a strong reason as to why you should have build a personal brand. Your personal brand will allow you to attract employers that maybe wouldn't necessarily see your CV. It will also allow you to appear via perception, appear as someone who really knows what they're talking about and would be a really good fit for that role. So really think about the reason you're using LinkedIn and the reason as to why you need to build a personal brand. And then that will allow you to build upon that and go, well, if I want to be noticed by recruiters, then obviously I need a good profile. I'll need the things that are going to gain attention, and we'll work on that later. If you're trying to make sales, you know you have to really clearly display your offer. And that's something we'll get to in a bit too. But just think about this as your personal brand, if it's strong, will really build trust and credibility. What will it not do if it's weak? Well, what will it do if it's weak, sorry? Well, what it will do is the impressions that you make will be non-existent. So people won't remember you at all. They won't want to engage with you because they won't see the reason why. And they won't feel confident that you can deliver on something that they need. So, what I wanted to let you know as well is we've got that checklist. So the checklist is going to be sent to you guys at the end of this. And what that's going to do, if at any point this gets overwhelming or you're like, this is past what I already know I'm doing, or even if there's a few things you know you are doing, but maybe there's some that you're not, this checklist is going to allow you to fill in the blanks. So after this session, what we're going to do is send you across this checklist. But what I want you to do is email us or drop us an email, which you can see is in the chat right now, hi@maverick.io. Share an email and just say, please send me the checklist. And what the checklist is going to do is it's going to give you the basics and also some advanced tips on what you're supposed to do to achieve a strong personal brand. Have I updated this? How do I update this? And it's going to be step-by-step instructions so that you know you've got a personal brand that's in order. So what I want to look at next is the link between your profile and your personal brand. Make sure you ask questions, by the way. If there's anything that if I'm speaking too quick, you haven't had a chance to ask a question, then just drop it in there and I'll keep an eye out, okay? So the profile loop. Great. The profile loop. So the profile loop is going to be a vital part of connecting your profile with your personal brand. And why? Because the profile loop in itself is the reaction to every action you take on LinkedIn. Check every day, most of us, if we're active on LinkedIn, is we're getting profile views, right? And we're getting profile views from a various different group of people. But all the time, every time they do that, it's through curiosity. So people are viewing our profile because we're creating an action. When we create an action, they react to it. Such as I post a piece of content, people that see it, click my profile, they check me out. If I send you a message, you click the message, see who it's from, click the profile, check me out. If I connect with you, you check my profile, you check me out, right? If that is one of the biggest early stage touch points in the process, how well are we communicating the value of working with us for our profile? And that's something I really want to focus on in the second part here. So your personal profile, and this is one of the most important parts of your profile, the introduction card. And what this does is it communicates a few different things, but it's the first 6 seconds of someone's visit to your profile, right? In those first 6 seconds, we have to really convince them. We have to really leave a good impression, and we have to very clearly communicate that we should work with them. We've got our profile here. We've got our headline here. We've got some of the hashtags that we talk about. We've got a website link. We've got our connections. Take a look at your profile and just see what it looks like, right? Does your profile look like this? Because if your profile looks like this, then you're really going to struggle to connect with your audience, right? Can you see anywhere on this profile about what I do? Do you know what I do? Do you know what I talk about? Do you know who I am? Do you know where I'm from? You may know where I'm from. Do you know anything about me really? And you definitely don't know anything about my offer. Whether I'm trying to gain followers, and let's think about the followers side of it. Do I look active? Do I look like someone you want to build a conversation or a relationship with based upon your first instincts of landing on my profile? Absolutely not. And that's purely because we're underutilizing our sections. We're not communicating any of the value of working with us. We're not demonstrating what our offer is. There's no message. Our audience don't know if they're in the right place because there's nothing to aid them into believing that this is something, I can deliver anything for them, right? What about now? Take a look at this profile and see if yours looks more like this one. Do you have a clear offer in your header? Do you have anything in your header? Do you have an image of a rainbow? Or do you have an image of a leaf? What do you have in your header? Is it something that allows your audience to quickly and strikingly see what it is that you deliver? From this, can you see what I talk about? What subject matter I'm involved in? Six-figure pipeline, clients on LinkedIn, coaching and training. People can very quickly see what I'm involved in and what I deliver. Some may argue it can come across salesy, but actually our audience are landing on our profile out of curiosity. And if we're leaving everything to the imagination, then they're going to disappear and they'll never come back. At least my audience know exactly what I'm likely to offer and what I'm likely to talk about. My headline, and your headline follows you absolutely everywhere on LinkedIn. If you connect with someone, if you post a comment, if you post content, this line is going to be right under your name in every one of those locations. So it's the quickest way to get the information in front of your prospects or in front of your audience. Here you can see, talks about leads, sales, marketing, social selling, and business growth. Does that also aid my audience in their ability to see what it is I deliver and what I talk about, and what I want to be known for? All of it, personal brand is not just about, am I saying all the right things, but the consistency of the things I'm saying. Making sure that everyone can see, and it's the utilization of LinkedIn and the profile itself. It's how I'm saying what I want to say, but it's also the consistency of what I'm saying. So the difference between this one and this one is huge. You can see that because you can quite clearly, it's striking one, so visually the perception is a lot stronger because I look active, I look more social, I look more approachable. But I also am giving more information, LinkedIn and sales navigator training for solopreneurs, sales team, senior execs. If you're a solopreneur, do you feel like I can offer you something? If you're a part of a sales team, do you feel like I can offer you something? So sometimes it's as simple as saying it, okay? And we're going to get through this in a minute because I'm going to help you to build a really effective headline. I want you to really leave this going, I know how to build a really effective headline, and I'm going to check some of your profiles. We're going to take a look, we can book a call, and actually we can run through this process with you, and I'm going to get to that in a minute as well. So, building your big promise. And this in itself is this part here, right? So building your big promise, we're going to put it right here, but actually it's almost like this whole part. It encapsulates all the information as to what we deliver, who we deliver it to, how we deliver it, and we can replicate that across all platforms. So how do we build a big promise? I'll get to in a minute. Why do we need a big promise? Well, because we're going to be demonstrating this to our audience, and in that short space of time that they land on our profile, they need to fully understand what it is we deliver and whether it's right for them. So we have a bit of a template here, and I'm not sure if you can see that very well, but it says audience plus outcome plus objection, method, and time. And I want you guys to, after this, to go away and maybe when we send you an email tomorrow, maybe have a go at this yourselves and then book a call with us so we can run through it together. No strings attached. We'll run through it together and say, look, maybe this is a bit long, maybe this is a bit short, maybe this could be expanded upon, or that's brilliant. Because what this will do for you, if you use this right across the board, is this is going to allow your audience to very quickly choose to engage you, not to go to your profile, not to go to your company page, not to go on your website and never come back, not to go to that colleague who's going to close them instead or maybe have a call instead, but actually for them to see that you're the person to talk to and that they clearly see the reason to engage you there and then. So again, what I want to look at here is, what's the problem with this big promise? What's the problem with this big promise statement? Audience helping businesses. Just businesses, right? It's not who's going to resonate with that? And this is the key here. We either got to create curiosity or we've got to resonate with someone directly. Helping businesses. So audience, it's not very specific. We don't want to niche down too far because then what we do is we limit ourselves to a very low number. But actually, if our audience is quite specific and we know it's not just businesses, it's larger businesses or smaller businesses that are in a position of need, then we're not going to just put helping businesses. We might put helping small businesses, or we might think about how we can expand that. To grow with our proven methods. What are the methods? How long do the methods last? I have no indication of how this training is delivered really. I don't have a clue at all. Whether it's training at all, it might be a software. So do you see what I mean? The lack of communication of what my offer is really means that people will struggle to want to take action and engage me. What about this one? Teaching new farmers how to consistently grow fresh vegetables through our 6-week intensive growth program. Well, this one actually says it's new farmers, very specific. And I have niched down on there for a reason. But actually, we'll get to this later, but niching down, it can't be such a bad thing if I'm not going to be wasting my time with people who aren't right. And this is the thing, personal brand isn't just about quantity. For some people, they want followers, and you can monetize followers and things like that. But if we're using LinkedIn, that's more of an Instagram tool, really. If we want to use LinkedIn, we want to be gaining new business. We want to be really using it as a way to create new business opportunity. And the way we do that is through trust and credibility, not just through the number of followers and the vanity metrics behind it. So I want new farmers because new farmers is who I'm going to be actively pursuing, and my message is going to be consistent. I want them to know that I'm going to provide a solution for them. How to consistently grow fresh vegetables. I know farmers in the UK at this stage are struggling to grow fresh vegetables because of the weather changes, whatever. I made that up, by the way. Sorry, farmers, if I'm offending you, if there's any of them here. But actually, I've gone specific to what I think one of their challenges will be. Look here, outcome. I want them to feel a clear outcome from working with me. They're going to grow fresh vegetables. It's going to be like the dream that they've been wishing for. Through our 6-week intensive growth program. That shows them it lasts 6 weeks. Okay, I have a clear understanding it lasts 6 weeks. It's intensive, so they're going to feel like, oh, this is an intensive program, so I need to commit a bit of time. So they already know what they're getting themselves into. And it's a growth program, so the only way is up, but it's going to take me 6 weeks. I'm not leaving it to the imagination. I want people to understand clearly. This goes across content, goes across your website, can be displayed in messaging, can be displayed in profile, advertising, all of the above. That big promise is going to follow everything you do. It's going to sit at the bottom of your content, and it's going to be something that people will read, and they're going to really clearly see that you demonstrate this value. You're going to help those new farmers, right? So, the next bit I want to talk about is attracting the right audience. What people struggle to do accurately is write content that your audience wants to read, not what you want them to read, right? That might sound a bit confusing. It always does. When I try and say it, I'm always like, who wants to read what? When do they want to read it? But actually, what I'm trying to say is a lot of people are posting content that you want your audience to find valuable, but not what they find valuable, or not what they are interested in. The easiest way to improve impressions, to boost content, and to really make people see you for what you want to be known for is by posting something that you know you're related to, but that they will find interesting. If I went and looked for, and I want to be known for growing vegetables, if I just posted my favorite, if all I posted about was my opinion on vegetables, that's what I want people to read about me. But if sometimes I put out there and I say, oh, what the most grown vegetable in the UK is at the moment, that's something that farmers might go, oh, what is the most popular vegetable at the moment? And the idea being, I'm thinking more about my audience and what they want to read, not what I'm just obsessed with them learning about me. Building your personal brand takes a multitude of types of content for it to be successful, but it's about consistency for your message. So let's take the topic of vegetables, for example. What people will do is they'll just take one topic and go, oh, you need to grow vegetables because vegetables are great. Oh, vegetables are amazing because vegetables do this. Oh, vegetables are... And all the time it's just that one topic and they feel like, oh, I've written it to death. But actually you can expand upon that topic and write a bunch of different things. You can focus on individual vegetables. You can talk about how they grow them in Switzerland. You can talk about how they farm them in Madagascar. You can expand upon one topic in multiple ways, just like personal brand. I could sit here and just go on and during this presentation and say, personal branding is all about having an effective personal brand. And when you've got a good personal brand, your profile looks great. And everyone loves you because you've got a great personal brand, and you'll make sales because you've got a good personal brand. But nothing in there is actually resonating with any of you. You're just going, oh, I know this. This is the result everyone talks about. But actually, I'm expanding upon that in a way that allows you to feel like that's personal to me. Yes, that sounds like something I need. Or, oh, that's a topic I'm really interested in, is legumes. That's all I really want to know about. That audience then is sucked into your ecosystem and they love you for what you're talking about. But you would never have found them if all you did was go, oh, vegetables are great. So we take personal brand and we go, how your profile affects personal brand, how your content affects personal brand, and then go even lower to say how finishing off your content with an action statement affects your personal brand. Do you see how we can take one topic and expand upon them to create loads of great content that your audience would love to read? What we do then, if we want to make it more rewarding for them, more engaging for them, is we can just flip the wording. How to grow great vegetables with these 5 tips. They're going to love that. That's valuable. How I can help you grow great vegetables is how you convert them. That's how you get them to take action. And how Cuba are currently growing the best vegetables in the world is how you attract the audience. You can see how I attracted, how I nurtured them, and how I converted them using just different language types, but the same topic of conversation. So if you're one of those people who's sitting there going, I want to build my personal brand, but writing content is really tricky, coming up with all these ideas around my topic of conversation is really tricky for me, then actually what you're doing, you're probably thinking about it wrong and you're probably obsessing over one thing, and actually it's really simply done. Drop us an email, drop us a message. We'll follow you up after this webinar as well. But actually what we're going to do is give you the chance to talk about that. Email us now, asking for the checklist and say, hey, I'd love a session to talk about how to write really effective content and break open some subtopics to help me to keep my message clear for my personal brand, but actually to write effective content day after day after day that my audience will love. Delivering value through expertise. Okay, sorry, we just got a quick question. Hi Dave, I advise small business owners as well as advising on commercial property matters. There is an overlap of the 2 areas. Is that the point to focus on? Pick one of the 2 areas and focus on that, or can you cover both? I advise small business owners as well as advising on commercial property. So the problem you have there is if you're trying to then display a message across multiple channels or across 2 different audiences, the more you break them open, the more washed out they get and the more, what's the word I'm looking for? So the less potent they'll be. And actually 2 can sometimes be all right, but what I tend to do is split them into campaign types. So I'll specifically connect with one audience and my message will be focused on one audience for a good period of time, maybe 2 weeks. And what I do is my content really hones in on their challenges. My profile really demonstrates a headline that talks to them. And then I'll campaign to those people specifically through content. It doesn't matter who, then what you can do is actually switch that over and target then the next one for a few weeks to be able to balance that out. If your profile tries to demonstrate both, what you can get is them struggling to read that you offer a solution to both challenges, if you see what I mean. So I have it as well. I can target corporates and I can target solopreneurs. But what I look at is my content's going to focus on one more specifically for a period of time. And then I might go out and send some value and message campaign a different type of audience for a few days. So it's just purely about your activity. If you want them to see your content and your profile, they need to be aligned with one kind of message. But otherwise, so campaigning it and splitting them into a kind of a time delay between each is going to be a great way to deal with that. So delivering value through your expertise. So one of the most important things you can do for your audience to get them to, one, stay on your profile and engage with you, is actually to be able to deliver your value through expertise. If I shared today with you and I just kept talking about how important a personal brand is and never actually gave you anything useful, would you really want to buy from me? Probably not. And would you really see me as someone who's worth talking to or valuable with the information that I'm providing? Probably not. What you need to do is actually every now and again share, okay, sorry, David, I'll come to you in a second, is share some value, like 5 ways you can build your personal brand on LinkedIn tomorrow. What I want people to do is feel like there's a benefit for landing on my profile. I want them to feel like they gain something for being here. I feel this is for people who are entrepreneurs. What about us people who are professionals who work in big companies? So it's the same process. If you want to be known for something specific, then you still want to talk about certain topics. So if you're working, professionals working in a big company, it just depends on what your motive is. But I'm going to be sharing a lot of stuff to generate new business, and that's what I'm doing here. But it all works similarly if you're trying to target, say, for recruitment, or whether you just want to be known as someone, as an industry expert. You're going to share content. You still want to share valuable content. You still want to share content that drives conversation, and you still want to share content that attracts an audience. But the way you expand upon topics is going to be really important in doing that. So I'll come back to you later, David, if you've got a different question, but just give me, we'll come to you at the Q&A at the end. So expertise is really important because the way your audience will buy into you is going to be really important there, right? If they see something valuable, you're going to be remembered. They'll walk away and they'll say, oh, Dave was the one that gave me those tips that helped me to get that client. Or Dave's going to be the person that ends up getting me some more followers. And actually the great thing about that is I then get remembered and they gravitate back to me as a solution to help them further. We're always scared. We always say, oh, I don't want to give away all my secrets. That's how I get them over the line. But people will struggle to implement anyway without your support because they'll get overwhelmed at trying to do it all in one go. But actually the key there is to deliver a bit of value, allow them to go and try something, build credibility and build that authority with them, and then they'll come back to you as a solution. Then we want to look at your call to action statement. So the thing with content and why I said it's so important is if you have that clear outcome that resembles your profile, resembles your website, resembles everything you do, then that call to action with a clear outcome is going to allow them to understand that you're the right person. And they're going to gravitate to your message inbox. They're going to want to engage with you and they're going to want to talk to you. So if you want to know how you can educate and inspire your team to use LinkedIn, drop me a message. I'm not listing my services. I'm not listing all these things about my company. It's just very related to the outcome that I have with that message in my content. And I just want them to do one thing, drop me a message. I want to track their activity towards me. I want them, if they're reading a piece of content that allows them to believe that I know what I'm talking about, then I want to be the one to then take them on the rest of the journey and build that relationship with them. So if you want to know how you can educate and inspire your team to use LinkedIn, drop me a message. Because I know corporates, a lot of the time they struggle to inspire their sales team and keep them active on the platform. So I want to make sure that they feel like there's a huge benefit to talking to me because it will inspire their team and it will educate them. Because I know that's a challenge that they have. So, just to remind you, if you want that checklist, the checklist that's going to take you through the step-by-step process to building your personal brand, updating your profile, maybe even updating your company page, updating little elements along the way that's going to allow you to have a clear and concise personal brand, then just drop us an email at hi@maverick.io and we will make sure that you get a copy of that checklist. We'll also, like I said, if you just want to book a call to discuss in more detail any of the topics that I've spoken about today, if you want to ask questions about things that we couldn't cover in this session, then book a session with us. We work with marketing, we work with sales teams, we also work with solopreneurs and large organizations. We work from top to bottom at teaching this stuff. So jump on a call, no strings attached, and we'll have a conversation. So step 3 in building inbound to your profile using your personal brand is quantity versus quality. And look, when we're in marketing, a lot of the time we're going, okay, well, we want more followers to the company page, we need more followers to our page, we need more attention. But LinkedIn is a tricky one because we can get a lot of attention and we can get a lot of wrong attention. And actually we end up costing ourselves a lot of time. So the problems with quantity is you get high impressions on content, and content will start to look great. You start to really buy into all these impressions and things like that. But if we're following our content strategy like before, then great. We might see some good results. And you can, don't get me wrong, you can have a niche audience and get high impressions if your content's really, really useful to people and people can really see, are really interested in what the topic of conversation. But actually, most of the time, if we focus on high impressions, we're going to produce content that doesn't actually communicate our offer very clearly. So we get ambiguous inquiries. People inquiring your website for the wrong things. People dropping you a message on LinkedIn because they're unsure of what you work in, but just seen a piece of content and thought maybe you produce great content, so it's worth having a conversation. What you're going to do is you're going to struggle to get a clear direction from your prospects or from your audience. And you'll have an unclear offer. So if you try to dilute your offer too much, target too many people and open that up and broaden that audience, what you're going to struggle to do is communicate your offer valuably. So people are going to be unsure of what it is that you sell specifically, so they may not inquire at all. And we don't want to leave that as an option. We don't want to give them a choice. We want them to go, right, this is for me. This is the person I need to speak to. How do I inquire? You'll attract triers, not buyers. You'll attract a lot of audience who are trying things but not buying anything. And yes, they're great. There are a place for triers. Influencers love triers, and they love the people the fans that will elevate them and get them more impressions. But actually, eventually we need these in the end, right? Our sales team, if we're in marketing, our sales guys will need these. We all will need these eventually, especially in LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is very strong for building communications with potential clients. So we'll attract triers, not buyers, because we're struggling to communicate the right things, the right solutions to the right pains. The quality metrics will be steady impressions, so you'll get consistent results for your content. Your inquiries will feel valuable. Dave, I've seen your post on this. I'd love to know more about how I can generate new inquiries through LinkedIn content. That's very specific. I know what it is he needs help with. Whereas if I just said, I help people use LinkedIn, he might ask me, how do I change a setting on his LinkedIn profile? And although I'm happy to help, the value in that is a lot less for me. So it's about making sure that our actions allow quality, because then we spend our time at the right time on the right people doing the right things. We demonstrate clear value. And this for me is huge, because people can really see that working with us will deliver a solution. And when I get on a call with someone, I don't want to have to go through the process of trying to demonstrate all that value just for them to maybe turn it down. I want them to see very clearly that I'm someone worth talking to, especially in the LinkedIn space or the personal brand space or the marketing space. And industry expert perception. I want people to see me as someone who knows what they're talking about around LinkedIn. So what you need to think about is, do you have that same feedback? Will you get that same feedback? Will people read that and go, read your content and go, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about robotics or AI. Oh, this guy's posting again. I'd love to read this because of yesterday's post where he really kind of showed that value. And you start to get that consistency across all channels, and you'll see that an audience will follow you. And when I say consistent results, it's purely because steady impressions comes from people loving your content and wanting to know more. They'll start to read your articles, you'll get more website traffic, you'll get more engagement and conversations. And this works the same. If you're in marketing, by the way, if you're building a webinar, your message will relate from your webinar through your content, and your prospects will understand the clear value of coming to a webinar. Your company page content, it's harder to get impressions, but if it's communicating the same value and not just talking about the company all the time, people will see that there's a benefit in that too. And actually, the personal profile, and this is what we're talking about, building your personal profile today, personal brand, actually stems from the fact that people will buy into you before they buy from you and your company. On LinkedIn and social media mainly, if you're not a well-recognized brand specifically, not to a large audience, then people are going to buy into you and then they'll buy from you. Which is why you see so many personal posts out there, you see so much content that talks about individual achievements, is because people are trying to sing their praises to be able to build trust and build credibility amongst their peers. And the reason I say it's so important that your profile is important is because that's going to get all your traffic. And you'll become an asset to your business. You'll also become an asset to yourself if you ever look to move jobs. And I've seen there's 20 million new people joining LinkedIn every year, something like that. And actually, with the numbers growing that much, you can establish yourself as a leader in that industry before anyone else even gets there. You remain top of mind for your prospects and your audience. Your brand becomes the brand that people recognize purely through you and your efforts. And we have a lot of clients that have gone from really low brand recognition. We had one guy who dominated his industry because of the way he built his personal brand on LinkedIn. He's in the fitness space, and I actually had people messaging me, emailing me. I had people in his space saying that he's dominated the space so much that they really struggle to break into anyone's inbox, into any conversations, because they feel like they can just see him everywhere. Obviously, they've got opportunities to talk to people, but obviously the perception of this guy is affecting them so much that it's making them believe that they've got no chance with their own industry purely because the dominance behind this one guy who's really executing LinkedIn effectively. And that's because they're probably worried because they can see how clearly he can help their prospects. Even they're believing that he can help their prospects better than they can. And that confidence thing can really drive us down. It can stop us taking the next step in the right direction. So industry expert perception is huge because if you're seen as an industry expert, then you don't really need to sell to anyone. And this is the beauty of a personal brand, is when your personal brand really says the right things, you don't need to be pushy. You don't need to sell like an aggressive salesman picking up the phone. You just need to be able to attract your audience through the right content, demonstrate the value and communicate that value through your profile and through messaging, and build conversations and relationships with people. And before you know it, all of your traffic will increase, all your conversion rates increase, and your company will be known for what you want it to be known by and what you want to be known by. So before we jump to the Q&A, I just want to share with you the fact that we've got a program called the 6-Figure Accelerator. And this program really encapsulates everything it takes to win new business on LinkedIn. If you're in marketing, if you're in sales, if you're a solopreneur, it doesn't really matter what you're in, as long as your goal is to use LinkedIn as an effective tool to build relationships, to connect with the right audience, to grow following, to build your business, to elevate authority, to be seen as an industry expert. We've got modules and training and coaching all on those topics. So we'll get one-to-one coaching. You join a community of members who love to learn new things, which we update. We've got 150 plus training videos online, but a lot of our training is hand-holding and really kind of one-to-one with our team. We have 30 people in content, design, personal branding, LinkedIn, sales, and we've always got an expert on hand within 24 hours to help you through or past the road bump. That's something you won't get anywhere else in this space. So if you really want to know more about the 6-Figure Accelerator, then drop us an email as well. Maybe when you ask for the checklist, drop us an email, or even if you just want to book a call, just to have some help, have some guidance on what you should be doing, book a call too. We're not going to give you any payment links or anything like that. It's all down to support. So make sure you drop that message. So we've got 15 minutes. We've got a little bit of time. If you have any questions about any of this, growing your personal brand, about any of the things I've said today, then drop them in the chat and I'll answer them the best I can. David, you said obviously about you work in marketing. I focus a lot of this space on driving inbound inquiries. So obviously driving inbound for your team, a lot of this is going to come to you. So it's about how you manage those conversations, but it all works the same way. So if you're in marketing, you want to supply more to the sales team, then you use some of the things I've said today, like an effective profile, to communicate the direction you want to take them in. So you still want to be delivering value for your expertise, because if people buy from you or believe from you, then they'll buy from your company and they'll buy from your team. You still want to write content that they love, but also make sure it leads itself to what it is you're delivering. Mix that up with what your company is involved in. You've been to a conference, you've got a new employee of the month, whatever it is, mix up your content between a bit of that authority stuff, the stuff that your audience loves to read, and a bit about the company to allow people to buy into the values and the morals of what you do too. Obviously, you want to make sure that your headline really communicates the value still. It's still a marketing tool. The profiles of your team, this is one of the things you can really get going, is building the profiles of your team. Making sure that there's a lot of people in your team that are executing this training and effectively using their profile. It can be hard to make it to initiate that process, to give them the benefits. But obviously the benefit to them is not just the company, it's the fact that they're building something as an asset to them for the future as well. It will help them to be more valuable to the business, the more connections they have, the more of a network they've built, the more conversations they've been involved in. So try to get your team, because every new member of your team will boost your followers, your impressions, will boost everything that you do on the platform. So do we have any questions from anyone? I've seen anyone have any questions for me at all? It doesn't matter how simple they are. They can be as simple as you like. If they're a bit more difficult, then what I might do is suggest that we have a call together. But any questions, just drop them in the chat, and let's see if there's anything I can do to help you guys. That's great, David. David, I'd love to have a call. So if you want to jump on a call with me, I'll walk you through the more marketing-based parts of personal brand building. No strings attached, just might be great for me and you to have a conversation. So I'd love that if you're up for it. Anyone else? Anyone got a message? Anyone got a question that they'd like to put for me today? Let's have a look. Put this back on. Anything else? So the beauty of this program, by the way, is we have different options. So different levels. You can come in at a lower level to get yourself more involved in the LinkedIn process. But this is going to teach you everything from start to finish. I've been with the company for 9 years. And over those 9 years, we've adapted, we've learned. LinkedIn doesn't tell you how the algorithm works, not properly, right? So it's tried and tested year after year after year to find the best way and the best route to driving new business on LinkedIn. We have perfected this within our program and gone, okay, what are the key things needed, or what is all the things needed to make LinkedIn an effective tool for a business or for an individual? And we've gone, right, it starts at your go-to-market. You need a clear offer. You need to demonstrate your value through your message. We need to attract the right audience. Then it goes all the way to the end, which is nailing that sales call, getting that conversion up, making sure that we convert the people that we are in conversation with. If you want to learn everything from there in between, then this is the program. Drop us an email. We'd love to speak to you. So we don't have anybody speaking at the moment. Hopefully I've covered everything. Definitely haven't covered everything. It'd be great to talk to you. Anyone's got a question, please put it in the chat. Graham, thank you very much for answering some of the questions and prompting people. Really appreciate that. Okay, we still no questions for the minute. So what I'll do is, great presentation. Building personal brand is all about building personal reputation. Yeah, it's a great quote from Gary Vee. I mean, it's coming from the personal brand expert himself, right? He's always nailed the way he communicates his offer, and he's always stuck to his guns, right? That's the thing. If you want to be known for something specific, be known for something specific, but just make sure you stick to your guns and make sure you communicate that across the channel. Because if you start to break that up, then obviously what happens then is you'll struggle to communicate it, because one place it will say one thing, another it will say another, and you'll confuse your audience. How would you start? So the best place to start is to get that checklist from us. It's free, and it will show you the best place to start, and it will show you the exact first things you should be doing. Great, Scott. Look forward to speaking to you. Yeah, so the first place to start is you want to get on your profile, check out your header. Is it blank? Check out that creator mode. Let's go back here. Go straight to the top. Give me a second. Does your profile look like this? Step one. Or does it look like this? If it doesn't look like this, I was going to say, Scott, cheers for that. I thought dry, and I was like, come on. Too harsh, too harsh. No, I appreciate it. Does it look like this, or does it look like this, right? What we need to think about is, if it looks like this, start making those changes, because the views that you've already had for your profile Can we give some likes? Yeah, can we get some likes on our company page? Can we come follow me? I post value all the time. PDFs, loads of stuff that will give you a ton of value. So do follow me and the company. Can you over niche in your headline? Great point. So like I said, there's quality and quantity. And if you over niche as in, if you're going to say men in their 40s who are trying to lose weight, who have 3 kids, what you're going to do is obviously you're going to struggle then. And not only that, the people that, if you hone in too much, you don't get the people who this could be a problem for going forwards. And this is what we have to think about. Sometimes we can niche and go, well, I want someone in a very specific pain. I want them to be struggling to generate revenue month after month, but I want that revenue to be 20 to 30K. Well, the people who are earning 10K at that time who see that will immediately rule themselves out. What you don't want is you want to make sure it's niche enough. And Dean, I can share a diagram for this actually. There's a great diagram that Dean's done which displays the difference between your influencer and niching too much and that sweet spot in the middle. So maybe Gaurav, I'd send that over to you. But yeah, what you want to think about is, are people going to exclude themselves because of what you're saying? And are people going to struggle to see the value because it's too niche down? So start to look at it and start to think about it that way. Say, is that audience too specific? Am I looking for the people who are ready to buy right now? Should I be looking for people who I could convince later on as well? So we always start a little bit wider, and then as we get a wider audience, we can niche into them a little bit more. But we need to attract them in the first place, okay? So as you can see here, I've got Solopreneur Sales Team Senior Execs. There's various message there. So what I'll have to do is in my content, I'll have to make sure that it's very clear on the value that I'm delivering. And building a 6-figure pipeline and winning clients on LinkedIn, that is the result. So you can almost split it. If you want to make sure you can talk about your topics in your headline, but you don't want your headline to be too long, start bullet pointing some of your topics in there, but put your result here, front and center. If you're someone that just has your logo covering your whole header, then there's no result for that. You're not gaining anything for that. Try to include at least something that allows your audience to see what it is that you do. So great question. Can you over niche in your headline? Absolutely you can. Just remember that line follows you absolutely everywhere. Great. Thank you, Lisa. I really appreciate it. What types of banners should we have on our profiles? Mine's just of downtown KC. Should I have something different? Yeah, so don't get me wrong. I love when you land on someone's profile and you see a header and it's a skyline or it's a beautiful sunset, it does say something about the person, and it is nice to see, but it depends what you're trying to achieve. If you're just someone who's on there to build relationships and build friendships and network, then that's fine. But if you're trying to get people to clearly see what it is that you deliver, if you're a marketing specialist, why are you not putting something in there about what you help your audience achieve? Okay? Try to include something in there that allows your audience to see that this is right for them. Even if it's just the types of marketing that you do, advertising, branding, this. So people can at least see a rough estimate as to what it is that you deliver. I'm in the hospitality industry. How do you identify the content that will keep the audience interested? Should you stick to the topics that are currently trending? Great question. So the content that will keep your audience interested is going to be things that, at starting point, we need to attract them. We need to bring their attention because they don't quite know you right now. Not necessarily. So the best way to achieve success on LinkedIn is we have to trigger the algorithm, right? And I hate to say it, but the algorithm really focuses on a couple of key things: attention and engagement. So how do we create attention? How do we create curiosity? How do we get our audience to engage with our content? And it's not even just about clicking like or comment. It's about them sitting there and looking at our content. It's actually more important than anything. We call it dwell time, but actually what it is the time spent on our content. So if we're to do that, let's just take, for example, let's see if this helps. So if I post an article from my website, even if the topic of conversation is quite general, it doesn't generate me much engagement because people see it and they go, I don't really understand, I don't recognize the source. It's not that, may not be valuable. But if Vasco, someone who we work with, posts a video of some man trying to, an Elon Musk article about technology in the technology space, who's going to be interested in that? Absolutely everyone, right? So you've got two ends of the spectrum there, and he would generate 1.5 million impressions, right? You're like, well, 1.5 million impressions is crazy. but actually the quality isn't there because I don't want to be known for talking in the tech space. It's hospitality. So you can go as general as going, okay, news about the hospitality industry from the BBC, right? That's going to generate quite a lot of engagement because it's news from an outlet that's trusted, that has a lot of following and has a lot of attention. So that's going to really attract a big pool of people. Some will be the right people and some won't be, but it's then what you do with them after. But trending topics are really good because if you can stick to something that's trending, then you're more likely to get people who are engaged on the platform, and you're obviously more likely to be relevant. So I would go more general if you're trying to appeal an audience, and more direct if you're trying to convert an audience, if you see what I mean. So we have to think about it as, should you stick to the topics that are currently trending? Absolutely yes, but try to think about the difference between the types of content that allows you to take your audience on a journey. So maybe that's something, we'll cover that in a Content That Converts webinar as well, which should be soon. And if you want to talk about that on a call as well, then that'd be great. But yeah, great question. So if there's no more questions for the minute, like I said, if there's anything I haven't answered for you today, let's jump on a call, let's have a conversation, drop us an email, ask for that checklist from the team. We'd love to give it to you. We love the conversation with new people, and I can see a lot of new faces here. If you're interested in this, I'd love to tell you more about it. So please drop me a message. And yeah, thank you for joining me tonight. Have a great rest of your evening, and look forward to speaking to you guys soon. Thank you so much.
Dean's strategy helped me find clients. I created clients for my business with this program. It works.
My connections have grown, my reach has grown, my views have grown, and actually so has my business revenue. Over that 3-month period, I have actually signed up 3 new clients at a cost of £50,000. That's over just the 3-month period. So it's worth it.
Every single time there's a session, I just feel like it's just a golden moment. Every single session brings me something really new and really valuable, and I've started to attract high value client sales, which is wonderful, and it's really given our business a boost.
Dean Seddon and the Maverick team, what can I say? Apart from absolutely awesome.
The results have been amazing. We have had loads of incoming leads coming into our lead funnels and workflow processes on our website. And we've also built a really successful community around the content that we produce and push out into our LinkedIn channels. My team has also learned a lot from working with the team at Maverick, and they've also helped us really create fantastic events on LinkedIn.
I'm much more confident, and all of that, without a shadow of doubt, is down to the work and the training and support I've had from Dean and the rest of his team as part of the accelerator course.
In terms of the training, Maverick have been absolutely fantastic. They've been so supportive. They've talked me through all the stages of what you have to do, why you have to do it, the benefits of doing it the way they tell us to do it. And I've gone from being with no social media to being actually addicted, because I can see what this can do for lead generation, generating new business. It's just been incredible, and Maverick have been superb throughout the whole process.
The guys at Maverick, they've been great. Dean and his team, very knowledgeable, wealth of experience, and we've had quite a few one-to-ones now that really taught us the depths, the nooks and crannies of LinkedIn, which none of us would have known before, and I think we can continue to use that going forward, and it's been great so far, and I hope to continue to use it as well.